My pastor says something all the time that, puts everything in perspective. And he says something like this. He says, I'm not where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be.
Welcome back to the Make More Money podcast. In this episode, Sam Bakhtiar, a refugee with $500 in his suitcase, came and built one of the biggest gyms, owns exotic cars, and his mom even talks about how she built a business in this interview. Sam, since then, with a heavy heart, has passed away, and it really makes it kind of just really seem that life is so important. Certain interviews, and this one didn't interview because it was during writing COVID. It was right when a lot of things happened. It was a little punchy. Both me and him were being pretty transparent. I was going to edit it a little bit better, and with recent events, I figured I was just going to leave it in its entirety and stand behind everything we say in the episode. Sam definitely focused on the 1% podcast. You can go listen to it. He inspired millions, including after this. We talked many different times, and he just inspired and just loved energies and loved helping see entrepreneurs win. The faith, family, finances, and fun, and he definitely knew how to have fun. Sam is definitely one of the people that I'll cherish. And I do want to say I first heard of him in an interview that Omar did, my friend Omar. Go click on the link below. I'm going to put that as a full interview so you get his full life. This was kind of a very quick conversation while he's on his treadmill, and I was with my mentor, JC Tenati, at the time. And you're definitely going to hear more about this later on. But I did want to say that, life, I'm going to do legacy videos. So I did a legacy video for one of my former managers, and life's too short to then wait until this point to say how much someone means to him. There's so many people his life impacted, and they're reaching out to him. And what I'm going to be doing, we're going to have Dana White on this podcast, probably have JC Tenati back on, and a lot of different guests that have been impacting my life. I am going to be working with other people making a legacy video series while people are still here and surprising them and showing a bunch of people that have meant a lot to them. So if you can think of someone who's had impact on you in the entrepreneurial niche, maybe a past guest or a future guest, put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from it. And obviously share, like, and subscribe to this episode. And this episode is brought to you by Podblade. Podblade is a wonderful podcasting platform that basically they edit, produce, and do the wonderful intro here. So if you're ever trying to get, I want to start my own podcast and have connections like this, check out the link below. It's your one-stop shop to have a wonderful podcast that makes the Make More Money podcast possible. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this conversation with me. And I said his name right now, not in the episode, Sam Bakhtiar. All right, it's Jeff J here to make your day. I'm never more proud to bring you the next guest. And I'm actually you heard a little about him in the intro before. We're just getting his voice because his voice always inspires me. His story inspires me. We'll get a little bit about that. He's actually making me feel guilty because he's already at the gym working out right here. He's actually walking. There was another guest who did the same thing to me. Maybe that's what we'll start, man. I'll start like a walking podcast thing to be in shape here. You got to get this mask off. We're going to talk masks. We're going to talk current events, but we're going to talk his story. His name is Sam Bakhtiar. I think I said it right. Sam, how you doing today?
Doing fantastic, man. Thank you so much, Jeff, for having me on the show.
Yeah, good. So this is the Make More Money podcast. So anybody who doesn't know Sam, he's made a little bit of money, but not just all straight at once. It wasn't get rich overnight. It was working hard and really, I don't even want to say the American dream, but really just taking the most out of your opportunities. So I know a lot about you. I've watched probably every interview you've done. Can you give our listeners like 60, 90-second recap on what you've done?
I'm basically an immigrant that came to the United States with $500, a luggage, and a single mom. We came to the United States very poor. We live in low-income housing. We got food stamps. It was very tough growing up. But then my mom, started making her empire with, Ladies Bridal Boutique. And then later on, I went and made my empire with owning the Camp franchise, which are 110 locations, a international franchise right now, and 2 major supplement companies.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So there was one person. So it's current day is present day. I'm working for my local multi-millionaire, JC Todd. He's my mentor. I'm just learning from him, not about money, doing that. The whole evil that comes on with, and we'll get into your story too, but this kind of connects here. The whole evil that goes on with George Floyd, which I think everybody knows is evil, gets a whole outrage on everything. Wound up making, I talked to a politician and a police officer. One of them told me to look up the First Step Act that got passed. The other guy said, who do you think you are, Candace Owens? So I went on this girl, Candace Owens, started listening to her, and then realized, man, there's all these problems with, I know people trying to defund the police department. There's the welfare department that really, people just it's kind of gotten out of control in a while. But you seem like you were someone who was an immigrant, who was a benefit of that, who actually was able to get out of it, right? So talk to me a little bit of that, because the Battle Boutique, like, how did that start? Your mom was very entrepreneurial, or how did she get out of that point?
Well, we came to America for opportunity.
Yep.
We didn't come for a handout.
Mom, man. I think that's right there. That's it. Who is it? Someone said a hand up, not a handout, right?
Yeah. You know what, man? I didn't come to get a handout. I came for an opportunity. And America presents opportunity. So if you're not taking opportunity, hey, look, man, there's bad things happen to good people. But if you came for an opportunity, there's so much opportunities out there that you're going to be able to take it. By sitting back and collecting welfare and bitching about your life and not going knocking on doors and trying to make something out of yourself, man, that's, you're in the wrong country for that, buddy.
Yeah. So what was the point? What was the drive behind? Now, how old were you when your mom started the business?
So my mom started the business when I was 13 years old, 2 years after we came to America. We both worked for my uncle's, convenience store in the middle of the worst neighborhood I've ever seen. Yeah. And we worked for his convenience store. Then my mom, saved enough money. I think it was a couple of $1,000s, and she started buying and selling, ladies' clothing, ladies' apparel. And then she started growing that, and she was able to put me through college, with that, and then she started, buying her first home and kind of building a little small empire for herself.
So first job you had being young before you did everything here was you working in a convenience store, right? Was that the first job you had when you were little?
Yes.
Was there anything like entrepreneur? So was it more?
Yes,
did you have the entrepreneur gene, or were you more just, this is just the best way to make it? This is what the free market and capitalism offers, so let's go take advantage of it.
I think a little bit of both, because, I never liked being told what to do. I never liked to be told what to do. I got fired from McDonald's. Yeah. I got fired, delivering pizza. I always wanted to do things my way, and so so I had if you want to call that an entrepreneur gene, well, let's call it that, because I would like to be my own boss and do my own thing and do the way I want to do it, not the way somebody else wants me to do it. But I wasn't taught that. I was taught to get a degree and go to work for someone else, or go to get a degree, go get a job, retire at 65. That's what I was told. But I soon found out that that's not what I want to do. That's not what fulfills me. I want to be able to do things on my terms. I don't want to be told what to do, and I want to do the things that makes me happy. Yeah. And have fun doing it.
So a lot of our listeners are a lot of former students. I used to teach behavioral middle school kids who got kicked out. They lived in the poorest of neighborhoods. And I used to sell them an opportunity. I actually showed one of your videos as an opportunity. And they used to hate on it until they started to believe it. Like, oh, maybe I could too, right? And it was a money management class. It was one of the best classes I taught. And I would show you guys as different, because I knew one of the kids was an immigrant, right? So you connect with you right away. Well, one of the kids under behavior, and it was just really just selling the vision. And I think that's one thing entrepreneurs do, is they sell the vision very well, which is what you've done. But college, I think we should all have trade schools. You kind of caught me kind of in the point. We should always get rid of colleges, kind of, because I went to college for whatever. What did you learn in college that helped you today? Was there anything in there?
Honestly, I think 4 years of college, as far as knowing a skill, is a joke. You you go to 4 years of college, you learn generalities of stuff. So if you want to really go to college, you actually got to go and get your master's and PhD if you want to get adequate at it. Now, is college necessary for you becoming successful? Hell no. We know billionaires that never went to college or dropped out of college, and all that kind of stuff. But college does teach you some intangibles. Like how to, work with other people, how to, work through deadlines, deadlines of projects, how to work under pressure, how to build a multitasking life, how to get out of your mom's house and be able to do the fucking laundry and eat and cook for yourself. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of intangibles that goes there. But, I don't know if you watch the news or not, we just passed, the Trump administration just passed a bill that says skills over degrees. Okay, because
I didn't know this is new. You're breaking. I don't watch the news as much. I know
federal government is the largest employer in the United States, employing over 2.1 million people. Which and the way to hire people is always they look at what kind of degree they have, not what kind of skill they have, right? And we know that you can go through 4 years of college and get a degree and don't learn a damn thing. I know a lot of people just go in there and memorize just to pass the test. A lot of times, all they do is party and memorize and pass the test, or get the test answers from somebody else and be able to just pass and get a degree. We know that's nothing there. So what this does, and that shows that hey, skill matters the most, and this also levels the playing field for a lot of people, a lot of families who can't afford to send their kids to college, right? And so now, if you want a job and you're willing to learn that trade and willing to do whatever it takes to become the best at that job, now the playing field is level. And we got to look at all the things that you always got to look at. Why are we doing this? And if there's a better way, you got to find a better way. And the times are changing. This is not the 1940s. We're not in the industrial age no more. We're in the information age. We're in the entrepreneur age. And we skills are rapidly changing, the skills that we need in the marketplace. And if you just stand there and not learn anything, you're gonna be a dinosaur. You're gonna be extinct.
Yeah. So, dude, we'll be at the next event when this whole COVID's off, and I'll come up to you then. But for people who don't know, because we get so into it, we're just entrepreneurs who kind of get into it. Tell people a little bit your first business, kind of a struggle you went through that you overcame when you were just like, okay, and why you picked what you picked.
So my first, my first business on my own, was, when I started my first gym, right here, literally 5 miles from here, my house now. It was February 15th of 2000. And it was a personal training business that I started. I didn't know anything about sales. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know anything about business because the school didn't teach me that. But I knew all about anatomy, physiology, biomechanics, biochemistry. And I knew that I didn't want to move back with my mom in Pennsylvania. And I want to stay here in Southern California. And I'm basically fed to the wolves. I'm in the real world hustling and trying to do my best. Have I known proper legal, proper marketing, proper sales, proper systems, man, I would have could have avoided so much headaches, so many problems, and that's something that I've learned through mentorship, something that I've learned through, being around put on myself so I can be able to kind of scale my business. But I have so many problems, man. I remember one of the issues that I had was hiring the right people, be able to training the right people, putting systems in place, putting scalable, repeatable things in business. One of the other problems I have was legal. I didn't know the legal aspects of business. Should I have an LLC or should I have a corporation? Should I have these people as independent contractors or employees? What my agreement should say. What does California require? How should I protect myself in case of a lawsuit? I didn't know any of that. I was just happy making a buck.
Yeah. So what, and it's true because I've done all that, and thanks to YouTube. I don't think, what year was it when you opened your gym? What year was it when you were like, I'm going to go for it?
2000.
Yeah. So I guess YouTube was around then, and not to the level now. Like, I am so blessed to learn from the guy I'm learning from now, to have you, to have certain people to I have JD Frost who helps with any of the legal stuff. So I almost feel almost guilty to be kind of an entrepreneur who's really just cutting out a lot of mistakes that could happen, and because of that, I try and help a lot of people cut out mistakes. Now, I started a whole coaching business over COVID when we weren't doing window sales. The whole world was closed. And I started helping people because I want to help people. And then people were paying me money to help them. I was like, no, it's about you. But then they'd make money. It started a whole new thing. But so let me ask this though. What made you pick the gym? Like, what was your job before then? Did you go work for a gym before?
Yeah. So all the way. So I fell in love with transformation and working out when I was 12 years old, after I got cut from the basketball team. I got cut from the basketball team. I went to get better at basketball. I fell in love with weightlifting. That's when I knew that I wanted to get in a transformation game, because I love what lifting weights and nutrition that did for me, not only physically, but what it did for me mentally, and how it, kind of affected all areas of my life.
Yeah.
So ever since then, ever since I was 18 years old, I was going to the gym, I was doing personal training, and I was going to school. Throughout college, I was doing personal training, I was going to school. Through grad school, I was doing the same thing. So when, I got my degree, I'm like, all right, I want to open up my gym. Let's
What
go.
was your degree in? What was it?
I got my degree in pre-medicine and nutrition from Penn State, and also got my doctorate degree in chiropractic because my mom, said, Sam, you have to be a doctor. And so I researched, I'm like, what doctor has to do with muscles, bones, nutrition, and everything that I like to do? Because I'm not operating on people. I'm not going to drill anybody's teeth. So I got I got a degree to satisfy my mom's desire, but I never practiced. I got my degree. I passed the boards. I have my big old plaque.
That's right. Your doctor. I remember seeing that, Dr. Sam Bakhtiar. Like, I was like, oh, so I should introduce you as that. Just because, like, the fact that you do it and you get, like, it's a piece of paper at the end of the day, dude.
Yeah.
Law study and stuff. It's really the most, and this is what you understand. This is what you've done to me. It's the most you can impact someone to then see how they can transform their life.
Yes.
That's and dude, I saw a homeless man go and take his coat off and put it on another homeless man when it was cold out. I saw a guy like you take time out of his day to spend time with me. At the end of the day, it's when you get to help somebody else out, that's what the, like, true success always feels like it is, whatever thing, but you got to help yourself first. So you definitely helped yourself. So that's funny. You got cut from the basketball team. That's the pain, right? Pain equals change. That was it. I'm going to work out and be better than anybody. So your first personal training clients, how did you get your first client? Prospecting.
Well, the first, I was working for gyms first.
Yeah, so you were.
I was working for gyms, so that's how I was getting my clients. They were coming in through, and I was getting, my first clients. But when I first started my business, I was getting personal training clients, but just hustling, old-fashioned hustling. If I see somebody in the gym working out, because my personal training business was inside of LA Fitness, I would go out to them and be like, hey, let me show you a better way you can do this bicep curl. Hey, let me show you a better way that you can do this exercise. Hey, by the way, let me give you a free personal training session. Let me, test your body part. It's absolutely for free. I just want to show you some better ways to do certain things. And then win them over. The old-fashioned hustle, what is lost today. Everybody lost that old-fashioned sense. With the digital world, everybody wants to put it like a click funnels, drop some ads, and then all the time, they want to pay money. Nobody wants to actually hustle and build relationships with people anymore.
Dude, it's so true, and I love it. We have the whole click funnel thing now for me, and it's cool, but I love going out meeting people, man. I always have business cards around, and I'll tell people, hey, what are you doing? Man, I love that. I love the human connection,
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with click funnels. There's nothing wrong with using technology to be able to do that. But it's wrong when you use a technology, but you don't do nothing else with it, right? I'll give you an example. So, I click on this guy who makes suits, sport jackets, a few years ago, because I liked one of the sports jackets that I saw in his ads. And of course, he retargeted me, so I kept seeing his stuff. And you know me, man, I'm a short dude. I'm kind of awkward. I'm kind of wide but short. I can't just buy a coat off the rack. You can't just buy something that I see on it, right? So I was like, man, that suit looks so good, man. That looks so good. So I messaged them. I said, hey, man, I see your stuff. I love it, but I wish, that I knew that would fit me. I would buy it if it would fit me or not, but I don't think it's going to fit me. So the owner calls me himself. Hey, this is the owner. I see that. Hey, do you know your measurements? Or do you have a jacket that fits you perfectly? I said, I do have a jacket that fits me perfectly. And he goes, why don't you send that jacket to me? I'm going to make this jacket exactly that way. I'm going to send it back to you. And so I did that. He sent me the back of the jacket. It fit like a glove.
Wow.
And now, $20,000 later, I bought so many other stuff from him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But have he not done that? He didn't give you a personal trust. Nobody's well, talk to my assistant. Well, you don't have it. Everybody wants a 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, people always tell me, Jeff, you work so much. What's going on? What you're doing? But I think you're kind of born for it, kind of a way. When you have a purpose, you know what you're working for. So here's the thing. You've been pretty successful. You have one of the best podcasts, the 1% podcast. You interview everybody over there. Nobody listens to that. Check that one out. Who's your favorite person you interviewed on there that you thought was cool? You got quite a few.
Well, there's so many people, bro. So many people.
For someone to check out that you were like, wow, that was a good interview.
I think Ed was great. Milet was great. Yep. Grant was great. Tim's story, my buddy Tim's story was great.
Yep.
Chase Hero was great. Gosh, man,
Chase Hero. Man, I just got into them. That dude has more energy than me, man. I didn't think it was possible. He's
that guy is funny, man. Great
dude,
guy.
Right? He's hilarious. I saw him and Bradley on a live one night, and it was off the charts. But
yes.
But what was I going to say? So yeah, that's crazy. It's funny. I was just listening this morning. Tim Story and Grant did an interview together. I'm always consuming. That was my wake up call, just to hear that and how I love Grant, how he's all authentic. I love Ed. Ed reminds me of my brother. Actually, my brother kind of works close with Ed, Josh Lewis Growth. But it's just cool to learn from so many different people.
Yes.
So who was the one? Did you have a mentor like JC Tenati's Claire? My mentor right now. I kind of listen, watch, observe it. Did you have a mentor going up that time, or did you just kind of just wing it?
No, dude, I didn't even get into mentorship till I was in my early 30s.
Oh, okay, wow.
I don't come from that background. I come from, hey man, you do it yourself, do this and that.
Yeah.
So I remember when I first hired my first mentor. I remember when I first wrote that check. I'm like, oh my God, I hope I'm doing the right thing. And at the time, it was $2,500 for a whole year on mentorship. This was like, in 2004 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, I hope I'm not wasting. And that $2,500, literally became $250,000 for me. I made so much more money. He helped me so much. And after that, when I got introduced to the power of mentorship, that's when I knew that, I need to always have mentors. So I've always had many mentors. I currently have many mentors, that I learn from and want to emulate.
So yeah, that's one thing I know. The first time I wrote a credit card, I was on credit card debt. I put $7,000 on credit card for 6 months of coaching. And it was the biggest thing that he said, hey, these are your skills, and just found me my skills to fund my passion. That's kind of what I just do now when I help people out. And now I build systems, I build LLCs. It's funny because now when I'm coaching, I always feel like, oh, I'm too young. I'm not a multimillionaire yet. I'm just trying to help people at any level I can. And the one thing I noticed, Sam, is if you just help people for free, sometimes they don't take advice. When they pay, they kind of just take action, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. Nobody takes free advice seriously.
Yeah, it's so true.
So nobody takes free advice seriously.
Because I put up YouTube videos to help people. I have the same advice in my YouTube videos, and they're asking me, and I'm taking notes. We got the dog here, dude. I love where I'm at right now. This place, they have a little golden retriever dog. It's like that family-owned business that I can learn from a guy who has a whole real estate portfolio, has a boat, has the whole deal. But what type of car you got back there that you always have? Because I'm not a car guy.
Well, I'm in the gym right now, so I'm not in my garage.
Your interviews, when you're in there, you always have a car behind there.
Oh, which one? The red one? Mm-hmm. It's a Ferrari.
Okay, see, dude, it's so funny because I am so not a car guy, which is one way I know I'm definitely a girls, and I do like beer, right? So I've cut both those things out to be successful, to limited successful, right? Yeah, Good thing I don't like cars, man, or I'd probably be. I do like Teslas because they self-drive, and I hate driving, Yeah. Although I will maybe rent a Ferrari out there. All right, so what was the point when you when did you hit a million? When you became a millionaire? What was that moment like?
I'll never forget when I hit $1 million, and it was in 2014, my first million. It wasn't that long ago, 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
When I first hit my million, and I remember taking a screenshot of my bank account and send it to all my closest friends because they always knew that was my goal.
Yep.
And I remember I pulled to the side of the road. Like, oh my God, like this was a goal. Like, go ahead. I started messaging. That's where it was.
Good. See that? I love that story. I've asked so many multimillionaires this story, and they say, "Oh, we just kept working. We didn't know this, that." I think it's about next year. We'll figure it out. The whole world's gonna know. I tell people kind of where I'm at. I'm very authentic, right? Just working hard, helping people. But my goal, and is 76. It was mine and my older brother's goal, who passed away. We wrote down 77 million before we open a coffee shop music studio, which is kind of my why. I want to open like a Starbucks, called Kokomo J's. It was mine and my brother. He passed, so I'm like, that's what got me into entrepreneurship. And everything I thought was wrong, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And through the journey of it, I realized I kind of found myself, right? What's the best money tips for a young kid? Let's say like me. Let's say I'm a young kid. I'm kind of just all focused in on doing business, learning business, kind of, and helping people out. What do you think is the best tip you could give me money-wise as I'm getting all this money in? Now I'm getting scared of success. I didn't think this would happen, Sam, but now that I'm starting to I'm actually like scared of it. I'm like, oh no, now the world's watching. What's the best tip you would give me?
Don't spend, invest.
Yeah, no, that's what I've been doing. I invested in 2 softwares and I have real estate, and I'm buying something in, I think, Florida next year. So
Yeah, this is real simple, man. Don't spend, invest.
Yep.
You can always spend money, but make your money, make your money work for you.
Yeah. All right, no, that's awesome. So what, where were you, just for people, where were you born? What was that like? Because before you came to the States, you were in the great country.
I was born in Iran, which is a third world country.
Yeah.
It was a war-ridden country, man. We were getting bombed on every night.
Yeah, I always remember Patrick Ben David talking about his stories in there. Dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. So you went from being like bombed to getting to America, like literally, like that's gotta. How old were you when you were in Iran?
I was there until I was 11, and I moved to America when I was 11.
Wow, dude. So you definitely have some memories from all that, huh?
I do.
So is that when a day get tough, like, cause it's not easy. You're opening up LLCs or corporations and all that stuff too. It's a different type of like toughness, right? Would it help you to think back to those days and be like, hey, at least I'm not there?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, man. My pastor says something all the time that, puts everything in perspective. And he says something like this. It says, I'm not where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be.
Oh, wow. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's good. So wait, Pat, you're a Jesus guy too?
You know what, man? I love faith. I love God. I'm not a Bible thumper.
Yeah, neither am I. But at the end of the day, dude, I think with all this COVID stuff, and actually we'll just get into it now. My interview's been more real though. My dad was one of those guys, oh, the Lord's coming back. After my mom passed away when I was young, he really looked for the Lord to come back because I know he just missed mom, right? So I would just be like, shut up, Dad, shut up, shut up. When all this stuff happened, dude, and then I'm hearing about microchips, Bill Gates, all this crazy stuff, right? I went home to my dad. I was like, Dad, I think this is it. I think this is the end. And he said, no, it's not the end. So either way, I was getting disappointed because I finally have a goal I'm working toward. I finally feel success. I'm like, come on, Lord, what's going on here? I don't really like kind of advertise it too much, but I always do say there's that whole thing with the thief on the cross. I think everybody knows, right? And if the thief on the cross turns and stands up for Jesus then, and he says, you should be with me in paradise, then hey, at least I'll stand up for him going forward. That's kind of where I keep it at, So let me ask you this. So definitely, do you what drives you now? Like, is it that you always go in the gym? What's your workout schedule like?
I work out every day. I work out every single day, every single morning. I don't work out hard and crazy every single day, but I'm consistent.
You're walking right now. You're putting me to shame. You're like, I don't work out hard. You're like doing cardio and I'm in here. Is this new? Did you just set this up or?
No, I figured, man, a lot of times I do it for 2 reasons. One, rather than sitting on the couch and not doing anything, and messing up my back by sitting, I'd rather be standing up, be able to walk, burn some calories, and be able to do the podcast. Also, another thing that's really cool is that, when you sit down, man, you kind of get tired and lethargic, start yawning, and I want to make sure I bring my best for you. And the best of me requires movement.
Yeah, that's true. David Meltzer, I want to re-record our thing because he was sitting down. That dude, I love him, but he doesn't have the energy. And I thought he was falling asleep. I'm like, man, I'm doing a horrible interview, so I appreciate that. But what was I say? You definitely kind of embody what basically just kind of a successful gym guy there. But like in a level where you give out advice that just like helps everybody out. I heard you on my friend actually, Vanessa Vanetti's podcast. You know who that is, Vanessa Voice?
I do.
So it's funny, when I interviewed her, I didn't know she's an all Instagram model, right? I'm in my journey. I just stopped kind of like you do. I'm interviewing her. Look her up. I'm like, holy cow. I was like, who are you? So then I told her, hey, you can use your pain to find your purpose. That's what I'm doing. And then she went off and did all this stuff. And now she's been like great. So she's actually going to be on here as well. But at what point, like, what's the thing that, like, obviously you're human. You have bad days just like anybody else, right?
I do.
What's the one thing that you do that helps you get out of that funk?
I look at the big picture. I look at all the things that I've gone through in my life. There's so many devastation, trials, and tribulations that happened to me, but it made me who I am. And overcoming the obstacle, obstacle is not in the way. Obstacle is the way.
Oh, I like that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, dude, that makes total sense. Whenever it's hard, you lean in, you attack fear. That's kind of what I do, and just do it at a daily level. So, with COVID, with everything happening, and that had to close your gyms. Did that? I mean, I know you set yourself up. You've learned money pretty well and how to invest stuff. But did that had to set you back pretty good and be a big challenge, right?
Bro, I've been ready for something like this ever since 2008 when the recession happened. I wasn't ready for that because that was my first rodeo. You know, uh, seeing an economic downturn.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
at that time, I was devastated. I felt so bad. I felt so bad that I was exposed like that. I was basically, caught with my pants down. I was getting foreclosure notices on my house, and credit card, creditors were calling me. It was a big mess. So at that time, man, I'm like, you know what? If I get through this, if I survive in 2008, I would never do that to my family again. So I've been waiting for something like this. I was waiting for a downturn, and I'm 100% okay, but I didn't know. I never thought it would be a pandemic. I never thought it would be a health scare. I was ready. I was ready for a economic downturn, but not a pandemic. But I'm good.
So what part of California you in? Where's that gym at?
I live in Chino Hills, California.
Oh yeah, Chino. Oh yeah, I used to watch the OC back when I was young, and the kid they used to call him Chino from there. But what was I gonna say? Oh, you were saying something there. Oh yeah, you basically. So obviously, you went through 2008 as an entrepreneur. You went through 2008, just like my boy Grant did, right? Hit you. Now you're prepared for it now. What's one way that the great Dr. Sam invests his money today? What's one thing that you play? Do you do buy real estate? Do you play with the stock market? Do you do IULs? Like do you have like a different way you like to invest your money?
All of the above.
Yeah, really? So you just
all of the above. Absolutely. I have some money in real estate. I have some money in stocks. I have some money in health insurance and other insurances, all that. And more importantly, more important than anything else like that, is I live a pretty frugal life.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? I have nice stuff, but I don't flash it. I don't go out there.
Well, the Ferrari in the background is always,
but I mean, it just
you really don't though.
It depends on your level of income. I could have a Bugatti, but I don't do that.
Yeah.
I could have a bigger house. I don't do that. I could be a lot more expensive, but I do that. I make sure that I have a pretty big cushion, so I'm always going to be okay.
Yeah, there's a rule I tell it that I live by right now. If I can't buy 6, I don't buy 1, right? Kind of that way. That way I don't live by it. Kind of keeps me kind of as driven as I can. But no, I the one thing I love about you is how just real you are about everything. Like, dude, you have so many people on Instagram or on any of these social media marketing things, and they kind of flash or. I know Grant makes a joke, you can rent a Lambo, not a jet, and he's always making jokes about stuff like that. But the whole thing is I think it's really more about the message of what I was learning. So I would listen to anything would get attention. The Ferrari always got attention. I could see you there sitting with it. I got to actually listen to Tim Story's podcast because his is coming out pretty soon. He was the guy who prophesied over me when everything started to blow up. He goes, "You're going to do it." And it was crazy. So big, nice connection there. Well, what's your current day like right now? Like with everything going on, is the gym open or what's going on with all that?
My daily routine doesn't change. I don't work in the gym anymore. I work on the gym. So I can work from anywhere. I can work from home. I can work from the office. I can work from the beach. But my routine is pretty much stays the same. I still get up in the morning. I still work out. I have my family time and I have my work time.
Yeah. So how big of a family you got now? What do you have what's your family life like now?
Well, I have 3 children.
Oh, you do? I didn't know.
I have a 10-year-old daughter, a 6-year-old daughter, and a 1-year-old son.
Wow. Oh my God. Actually, I did know you actually had a baby then. So that's kind of at the end of the day, like I sell doors and windows, right? I sit down. I always ask for a best relationship advice. This is kind of something I usually ask at the end. We're kind of getting there. But what's one best relationship advice to kind of get it to the level of just maybe being a good dad or something like that would help me?
Relationship advice for your spouse or for your children?
Well, no, let's do it with the spouse to the girl too, because I always have girls that I can never make it. I can't even last. I think 2 years is the most they lasted with this high function entrepreneur here. I think
if it's going to be a spouse or a girlfriend or whatever, I think communication is everything. Over communicate. And also make sure that you guys have the same, are eye to eye and have the same standards and the same vision for your life.
Yeah.
Okay. For example, if you're trying to build an empire and you want to live super frugal and you have a girl who wants to just spend money all the time, it's not going to work.
She's mad. This is my ex right here. She took me out during COVID. That's her and her little one, right? I kept on my credit card reminder, right? I showed this to Lewis House. She goes, we go out for drinks. I don't drink much, right? So I wind up throwing up. It was the worst night, Sam. I go out for drinks with her. She's next thing I know, like I'm a little drunk. I'm watching and she's talking to me about going to Bora Bora with her because now she's seen me have a little success. She's coming back all crying for me. I don't know how much she watches this, but she knows. I call her out of that anyway. But yeah, so that is definitely true. That's why I kind of definitely stay as clear laned as I can now. I've had fun there. But communication, definitely having the vision. Like I have a vision. I want to Kokomo J's or bust, man. You know what I mean? Like I know what it costs. I know where I want. I know my financial goals. I live on a futon and I get up and work on a computer, man. That's it. Because I know no girls are coming back to that futon. I got it all planned out. So what's one of the biggest like proudful moments you've had in your career and how like and you just look back and was like, man, can't believe I did that. Because I have a few already that like, and you just must have like, was it buying the Ferrari? Like, man, I got this, or what was that?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it was a prideful moment at the time. It's not a prideful moment now. I would say, man, to keep it real, when my kids are like, wow, Dad, wow, thank you so much for working so hard and, providing this house for us. And, we can go, we'll do whatever we want. They now realize and they understand that working hard equates to the lifestyle they have. And that's a proud moment for me when my kids realize, man, wow, man, Dad, we can do this because Dad did that. That's an aha moment and a proud moment that I can. Not the Ferrari, not the house, not the wide, not all that kind of stuff. At the time, I thought, wow, oh man, I got my first Ferrari in school. Okay, wow, no big deal.
Yeah. No, it's funny because like I think Grant always talks about it's about the score, right? It's about like doing something that makes you feel better than actually like the things, because the things are out at the end of the day anyway. But when and it's funny, they're 10 and they're realizing what was the vehicle you got into when you actually started, you obviously get to America, I always coach people, get in the right vehicle. What was the vehicle you get on when you started making some money, or was it just you were making little money, you were just putting it away? Was it that habit that kind of helped you then open your gym?
The vehicle for me was always hard work, determination, and planning. It's not like, oh my God, like there's a financial portfolio or nothing like that. For me, it's always about having a plan and executing a plan. That's the vehicle for me all the time. To this day, I get up in the morning, I have a plan every single day. Yep. What I'm doing every single hour, executing a plan. So that one plan every single day that I win every single day will lead to me winning the week, me winning the month, me winning the year.
All right, no, so what I want anybody to realize, and I have a lot of my former students who live in, I guess you call it the ghetto, or live in areas like that. They can do the same thing. They can hard work, do the plan, and everything like that. You did a great Instagram story. Maybe I'll put in the show links here when you talked about everything. The whole thing happened with George Floyd. I'm sitting in with everything there. Then you get all these certain people, it almost gets kind of a victim role, like, oh my goodness, how are we? The redlining, the systematic racism, all this stuff. You grew up in Iran. You came in America when nobody was around you or cheering for you anyway, and you made it that way. What would you say to someone who kind of looks at with that whole situation and that whole thought life there? Yeah, I agree there's stuff, and I'll do whatever I can to help that part up to it. But like, can you sum up what you said in the Instagram story about all that?
Well, I basically said that, the whole thing with George Floyd is obviously a travesty. It's definitely something that should have not happened. But for us going out there destroying things, and saying that all the cops are bad and, everything needs to be reformed, you can't do that. There's good people and bad people in every race, every color, every religion, and every gender. And every person needs to have its own day in court and his own day, being judged, and everybody needs to be judged individually and not as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you said it. So you said it was you were like fed up when you said it that way. You said it's very diplomatic here.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. You're at the moment, man. You just go. You're at the moment. You saw. I'm like, oh man, I'm sick of this.
So
So yeah, the tonality was totally different.
I like to think of myself as a free thinker, kind of definitely thinking, observing everything, both sides as much as I can, and making a decision. But really keeping it all success principles. Like I'd rather learn from you than Fox News or CNN. So, but when this all happened, I was watching the death counts of COVID, getting all the fear in me. It was crazy how it affected me as much as it was. I'm wearing the mask, I'm doing the whole deal, and obviously being respectful of everything. But then when the whole George Floyd, which was like the next thing that happened, I got all enraged, and I almost got so acting on my emotions. That I almost, even now too, I'm so connected now with certain politicians and stuff in this whole range. And I'm like, this doesn't make me any money, but if it helps change the world for the better, great. But I almost think, and this is what I kind of want you to speak on, because I almost think when it all comes down to it, prosperity and actually having a worthy goal and working towards its success, I think maybe like I kind of just boiled it all down. I think if we could get all the right teaching that message out, I feel like that could do a lot more better. Like that would help defund people off of welfare, which yes is needed for a time, right? As people can do it, but that they don't just bank on it. They can give them worthy goals. So what do you think the best way for someone like a kid in the ghetto? You grew up, you weren't in the best neighborhood. What's the best way to get them out of that neighborhood?
It's just changing their surrounding. Not if you can't move, that doesn't mean okay, but at least go check other neighborhoods' house. Have a dream, have a vision. Surround yourself with other people. You know what I mean? Just because you are born somewhere or are raised somewhere, that doesn't mean you can't move. You're not a tree. Trees are stuck. You're a person. You can move, bro. You know what I mean? So if you choose to live in the circumstances, it's because you chose that. You can change, and change is good. Change is good for everybody.
Yeah. That was what. So what was the time you kind of transitioned with all this? Now you're like really well sought off on social media and blew up. You were kind of just the guy just working off the thing. What was the biggest change that you saw? And change is inevitable. It happened no matter what. The change you saw when you were like, wow, this is actually kind of crazy that people. How did that all come about?
I'm not sure. What are you talking about?
You literally. So here's the thing. I went from searching everything. Like what made you? Let me ask it this way. What made you start the 1% podcast? Why did you start that?
Look, man, at a certain point in your life, when you achieve everything that you wanted, it's all about now, making an impact. And, before when I was poor and I was broke, when I couldn't, figure out where my next meal was coming from, I couldn't think about impact. I wasn't thinking about impact. I was thinking about surviving. But when I started surviving and thriving, I said, what else do I need to do to make an impact? How can I reach more people? How can I help more people? Remember, one of my favorite quotes is success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So if I have let's just say I have this mansion, I have my fleet of cars, and I have all this money, and I have all this jewelry, I have all the stuff that I have, and let's just say, but I've never helped anyone achieve anything. I never helped everyone along the way. What good is that in life? Yeah. That's an empty feeling. That's why that quote resonates with me. When it says success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, because that means that, there's a difference between being successful and being significant. Success means that, okay, you know how to do it. You've done it for yourself. Significant means that you're significant enough that you help other people succeed. You help other people win. That's the greatest joy of life, is helping other people win, not just winning yourself.
Wow. That is so true. And it's funny that you even say that, because like when we all got shut down and locked in, people didn't know. They went from business owners to not knowing how to make money online in certain avenues, whether it was this. So I started helping people set them up. And you're right, Sam, I've never felt more fulfilled than helping people in that level. And then that's when I started becoming significant of Jeff. So it's just following that whole thing. And then I even went to Joe, and the window sales are up the charts here. So I'm actually stopping in here to go out and sell another deal and just, help somebody else out. Kind of the deal there. So, hey, wow, this has been a great time with you. Thank you so much for walking with me on the Make More Money podcast. This is definitely a guy who's made a lot more money. So let me ask you this. Grant tells me to do this. I do this all the time. Do you look at your money every day to kind of know where you're at, to keep you in check?
I do.
Yeah. So why is that important? Because I always push people to do this.
Look, man, you gotta look at the scorecard, and you gotta look at the scorecard, your family, your business, everything. You have goals. But if you have goals, but you don't know where you're at with your goals. I mean, look, do you play sports and you don't know where you're at? At any time, when you play football, baseball, basketball, hockey, I don't care. You look up and you're like, oh, shit, I'm winning. Oh, shit, I'm losing. Why can't you do that with life? Right. Most people are walking around life and they don't know what the score is.
Yeah.
And if finance is one of your scores, it is certainly mine. I want to know, am I winning or am I losing today?
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm at, what I need to do.
Yep, dude, that's the best advice anyway. So anybody listening here, guys, go look at your money today. It's a score. We're on an economic planet for right now. Until it gets all traded to Bitcoin, even then there'll be a score. You can do more. You can help out more people with money. That's what I've realized. I think that's what Sam realized too. He's been doing it longer than me. Dude, I admire you. I thank you so much for your time. I'm glad we finally made this happen. I know it's been going back and forth. I just really wanted to stay focused. And I was almost like, man, I don't agree. Like, dude, I'm going to be out there interviewing Dana White soon. Mark Cuban said it would be on. So some big guys, and I'm just being me, man. So it's crazy. But there's nobody more that I was actually more. It's funny. If we did this before, I probably would have been a nervous wreck because I used to do it. Now it's like I feel like I just take notes, I learn, and now let me get back at it. You know what I mean?
That's it.
So I'm going to go get back at it. Sam, thank you so much for your time. Guys, check out the 1% podcast. It's one of the best. He's the coolest dude ever. You got to follow him. If you're not following him, where do people find more of you if they want to find more of you?
Yeah, just Google my name, Sam Bakhtiar, SAMBAKHTIAR, or you can text me at 909-200-4015.
All right, we'll put that in the show notes. 909, what was it, 2100?
200-4015.
4015. I got to get on that community list too. All right, I'll do that too. All right, Sam, be good, man. I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Jeff. Take care. Bye-bye.